On January 24th, 2006, 24-year-old Jennifer Keese, a young woman with a promising future, disappeared from her Orlando, Florida apartment. It was a case that would spark widespread media attention, but despite years of investigation, Jennifer's whereabouts remains a mystery. Jennifer Keese, at the time, she was living in a condominium near the Lake Buena Vista area, working as a financial manager. But on that January evening, her life would take an unimaginable turn. Jennifer was last seen at 6 p.m. leaving her office. In the following hours, Jennifer's parents and boyfriend grew suspicious of Jennifer's whereabouts. Jennifer's parents drove to her apartment to potentially find their daughter safe. When they arrived, the apartment seemed normal, but still no signs of Jennifer. After the missing person report was filed, 2 days later, police discovered Jennifer's 2004 Chevy Malibu parked several miles away at a different apartment complex called Huntington on the Green. Surveillance footage from the complex shows Jennifer's car being dropped off around 1 p.m. on January 26. In somewhat the clearest yet most grainiest footage ever, a man can be seen walking away from Jennifer's car. The unidentifiable man was seen walking away from her car, but luckily gate posts obstructed his face, making him harder to identify. Since the cameras from 2004 capture images every couple of seconds, the footage conveniently frames him just as the pose obscures his face, making it nearly impossible to see his features. Although no forensic evidence was found inside the car, the dust marks on the hood suggest they may have been a struggle. This person's identity remains unknown. Police have never confirmed whether this person was involved in Jennifer's disappearance, but it has been a key part of the investigation. Police were able to trace the scent left by the man seen in the footage, which led them to a location known as the Mosaic. A witness came forward claiming to have seen someone dispose of a 6 to 7 foot long rolled up rug in a lake near the Mosaic. For years, the case had been in the spotlight, with the Keese family and law enforcement relentlessly pushing for answers. Despite the effort, the trail has gone cold. Investigators have followed numerous leads, conducted interviews, even explored the possibility of serial connections, but no solid evidence have emerged. Tyler Davis was a devoted husband and father. On February 23, 2019, Tyler and his wife decided to celebrate her birthday with a getaway. They checked into the Hilton Hotel at Easton Town Center, a popular shopping and entertainment district in Columbus. That evening, the couple met up with a friend named Sean, enjoying dinners and drinks at several establishments. By all accounts, it was a fun night, but as the hours passed, things took a strange turn. At some point during the early hours, tensions began to rise. Tyler seemed confused and reportedly tried to convince Brittany that they were at the wrong hotel. Brittany, however, insisted that they were at the Hilton where they had checked in earlier that day. Surveillance footage captured Tyler storming off from the Hilton into the night. Shortly after, their friend Sean, who had been out with them earlier, followed a short distance behind, seemingly to catch up with Tyler. After a few minutes of silence from both Tyler and Sean, Brittany decided to call Tyler, but he didn't answer. Then, just before 4 a.m., Tyler would return her call. He told Brittany he was only a few minutes away from the hotel and that he would be back shortly. That call would be the last time anyone has ever heard from Tyler. Sean eventually returned to the Hilton Hotel, but Tyler was not with him. He reassured Brittany that Tyler was cooling off and would be back shortly. They waited around at the hotel, expecting Tyler to return at any moment, but as time passed, he never showed up. Earlier that morning, Brittany filed a missing person report. As police began their search, they reviewed surveillance footage, which showed Tyler walking away from the Hilton Hotel and heading towards a nearby condo complex. Cell phone record later confirmed that Tyler had walked near the Huntington Bank complex in the early hours of the morning. Despite extensive investigations and searches, Tyler Davis' disappearance remains a mystery to this day. One of the most well-known disappearances cases linked to surveillance footage is that of Brian Schaefer. Brian Schaefer was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University. But on March 31, 2006, Brian Schaefer and his friend Clint Florence went bar hopping in downtown Columbus. After visiting a few spots, they met up with one of Clint's friends, Meredith Reed. Around 1:15 a.m., surveillance footage captured the trio, Brian, Clint, and Meredith, on an Escalade heading into the Ugly Tuna Saloon. Sometime later, surveillance footage captured them outside of the bar talking to two women. At 1:57 a.m., the last known sighting of Brian Schaefer was captured on surveillance footage. Clint and Meredith waited outside the bar for Brian, but he never appeared. Assuming Brian had decided to walk home since he lived nearby, Clint didn't think of it as much. In the days that followed, Brian was reported missing by his girlfriend after he failed to show up to a planned flight to Miami. To this day, no one, or perhaps someone who's yet to come forward, knows where Brian Schaefer went. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged about what really happened to Brian Schaefer, ranging from him intentionally disappearing to being buried under nearby construction sites. In the eyes of many, Clint appears suspicious for several reasons, whether it's him losing track of Brian that night or refusing to take polygraph tests when asked by police. Despite relentless efforts by investigators and Brian's family to uncover the truth, no matter how hard they searched, Brian Schaefer was never found. Michaela Bali was just 16 years old when she vanished from her hometown of Yorkton, a small Canadian community of about 16,000 people. On April 12, 2016, Michaela went to school as usual, but her behavior that day took a strange turn. At first, she asked her friend for a ride to the bank. When the friend pointed out that the bank wasn't open yet, Michaela signed herself out of school and went to the bank on her own, withdrawing $55. After withdrawing the money, Michaela stopped at a pawn shop but didn't buy or sell anything. She did inquire about selling a ring though. From there, Michaela went to a nearby Tim Hortons, where surveillance footage captured some of her unusual behavior. Michaela bought a drink and sat down in a booth, but her behavior seemed unusual. Several times, she could be seen glancing over her shoulder at the entrance, as if she's watching for someone. At 9:23 a.m., Michaela left the Tim Hortons but returned moments later, leaving again through a different exit. By 9:49 a.m., she re-entered the Tim Hortons, this time talking on her phone and sitting at a different booth facing the door. During this time, she sent a cryptic message to a friend saying, "Hey, I need help." Moments later, she followed up with another message, "Never mind, I figured it out." At 10:25 a.m., Michaela was seen leaving the restaurant again, only to return a minute later and sit in the same booth. Shortly after, she approached a woman and asked for help renting a hotel room, a request that seemed unusual for a 16-year-old. Following this interaction, Michaela left the restaurant once more. She then returned to school where she briefly met up with her friends. Michaela left the school once again. Her next stop was the bus depot, where staff reported that she asked for a bus schedule to Regina, but never purchased a ticket. Michaela was last seen between 1 p.m. and 1:45 p.m., purchasing a meal at a Trail Stop restaurant inside the STC bus depot building. 4 hours later, her grandmother arrived at school to pick her up, but Michaela never showed. Another 4 hours passed, and Michaela Bali was officially reported missing. Many theories had surfaced about Michaela Bali's disappearance and where she could have gone. Much of this speculation centers around who she was in contact with that day. Investigators revealed that shortly before she vanished, Michaela had reportedly posted on social media asking for new friends. This led many people to believe she may have been connected with someone who played a role in her disappearance. To this day, however, Michaela Bali remains missing, and the truth of what happened to her is still unknown. On December 8, 2000, in Dublin, Ireland, 22-year-old office employee Trevor Deely vanished without a trace in the early hours of the morning. Trevor was described as kind, hardworking, and dependable. His night began at the Copper-Faced Jack's nightclub, a popular spot in Dublin. Afterwards, he joined his co-workers at a work party at the Hilton Hotel. As the night went on, at around 3 a.m., Trevor decided it was time to leave and head home. On his way home, Trevor decided to stop by his workplace on Wilton Terrace. Surveillance footage captures Trevor entering the building, but what is chilling is what it shows just minutes before. In surveillance footage, Trevor can be seen having a brief conversation with a man just outside the gate to his workplace. Moments later, Trevor enters the gate and leaves the man standing on the other side, watching as Trevor walks away. Once inside the office, Trevor grabbed an umbrella and casually checked his emails. He also made a voicemail call to a friend, letting them know he's on his way home. Just a few minutes later, surveillance footage shows Trevor leaving the building and heading back into the night. At approximately 4:14 a.m., CCTV footage captured Trevor walking past the AIB Bank on Haddington Road. This would tragically become the last confirmed sighting of Trevor Deely. In the same footage, approximately 30 seconds after Trevor, a man dressed in all black can also be seen, potentially following Trevor. When Trevor failed to show up from work, concerns quickly grew among his family, friends, and colleagues. Worried about his sudden disappearance, many people joined the investigation to search for answers. This led to several theories emerging, including questions about the man Trevor was seen talking to outside of the gate of his workplace, and the unidentified man spotted following Trevor in the CCTV footage. Later, additional CCTV footage surfaced showing two people standing outside of the gate of Trevor's workplace. However, these individuals were confirmed to be Trevor's co-workers. Despite these findings, the mystery of what happened to Trevor Deely remains unsolved.